Now, I just wanted security experts were left extremely concerned this week after the Albanese government decided to leave the port of Darwin in Chinese hands. What's going on in the world? Well, joining us now is the Director of Strategic Analysis of Australia, Michael Shoebridge. Michael, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning. The port of Darwin, so that's going to stay in Chinese hands, leasehold. What did you make of it?
I can't see this as anything but a temporary and bad decision. I think it really needs to be seen in the context of the Prime Minister's visit to China to shake the hand of Xi Jinping, and he didn't want anything to ruffle the pond. This decision leaves the key strategic asset in the middle of Darwin Harbour, our northernmost port, in the hands of a Chinese company at a time when Australia and our allies need to make best use of that port. So it's a very poor strategic decision.
So presumably, Michael, the Americans can't have been desperately impressed while Albo's wandering around with his ill-fitting suit and tie wandering around the White House. They can probably been even less impressed when they saw us handing a strategic military asset to the Chinese at the same time as we're trying to get the AUKUS subs deal through.
Exactly. If you remember, back in 2015, we sandbagged the then US president with this decision, who found out after the peak Australia-US security meeting. No one told him then. And now again, just days before the Prime Minister goes to Washington, we do it again. So we're looking like we're all hat, no ranch when it comes to military cooperation in the north.
James.
I want to move on to the discussions also about AUKUS that occurred over the week in Washington and concerns that the deal will not go through because it's going to be scuttled potentially by Republicans, but also concerns here that by building them in Adelaide, we're going to get them too late and we're turning this into an industrial policy rather than a defence policy. And I want to get your thoughts on where you think the future of AUKUS is going from here.
Well, James, anyone that thinks that Congress passing any laws now secures AUKUS is wrong. And we don't even know if the Congress will pass the laws that Biden wants that start to enable AUKUS. And the problem is the American submarine production system is under enormous pressure that gets worse right when we want them to hand their rare submarines over to us. As the best way to get submarines is to help the Americans build more. Trying to talk about submarines as a jobs program in Adelaide is a fundamental error. These submarines are about military power and security, not about Adelaide jobs.
Okay. And just on this topic of naval warfare and preparedness, just to go into history, do you find any troubling parallels between today and, say, the 1930s, when, of course, there was also a great battle in Britain to get the Navy up to snuff? Are you seeing troubling parallels historically with this battle to get naval strength up to snuff?
Absolutely. You look at the American plans, they want to get to about 360 major surface ships, and instead their fleet is shrinking. It's the same story with submarines. With Australia, we've talked a really big game about naval shipbuilding since 2017, and the Navy hasn't got a single ship for the billions of dollars spent. So our actions are not matching our words.
Well, we know Airbus Albo is going to be going to China next month. What are your feelings about the timing of that visit, and what does he hope to achieve?
Well, it's probably good it came straight after the Washington trip, because he will have had some very serious briefings from American intelligence agencies that hopefully he will take to heart. But really, he can't look like he's rewarding Xi for stop hitting us with sticks. So Xi has taken hostages. Now he's released one. Yang Hengjun is still a hostage. He's apparently going to start letting Chinese consumers buy our wine again. But really, these are all things, punishments that China put against Australia, and now we're meant to celebrate the fact they've stopped temporarily.
100%. Michael, the cover of The Spectator this week has a gag about the Darwin Awards. The Darwin Awards, of course, are those awards that are handed out to people who stupidly self-annihilate themselves. How stupid is Australia being, and how dangerous is it to give the Imperial Communist Navy of China a port up there on our northernmost flank?
It's an enormous own goal that we seem to want to keep scoring. We should take back the ownership. It's not even an expensive proposition. And then we should use that port for the collective security needs of the Indo-Pacific to prevent war with China.
Absolutely. Michael Shoebridge, thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, as always, with your insights there.